Playing games that I'm running. Stranger minds. Stop. Playing games that I'm running. Stranger minds. Stop. Playing games. Running stranger minds. Stop playing games. Running stranger minds. Playing games that I'm running stranger minds. You've been taking much too long, trying to find what's going on. Wasting all my precious time while you're making up your mind. You think you're really in the know, waiting for the sign to go. I've been waving that green flag and you still ain't moving. Stop. Playing games that I'm running. Stranger minds. Stop playing games. Running stranger minds. Stop playing games. Running stranger minds. Stop playing games that I'm running stranger minds.
How's it going, chat? We're gonna get started in just a few minutes here with some Mario Golf Toadstool Tour corruptions, which should corrupt fairly well. I've seen it in the past from previous corruption streamers, Vinesauce and various stockpile users that create stockpiles for Vinesauce. I've seen some corruptions for that. I believe I've caught a what's his name now? It used to be Welsh gamer Zero Ducks Given streaming as well. And the corruption results for that were pretty interesting, so I'm gonna give it a go. I never played it as a kid, but it looks like a lot of fun, and any Mario game that you corrupt, just seeing those characters corrupted is hilarious, so I think we should have a good time with it. We'll get started in about a minute here. I hope you enjoy the Jet Set Radio Future background music. Some fantastic original soundtrack. I tried to avoid using it so I don't overplay it, but I love it to death. And I'll be back in just a minute.
I like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. At all. I don't like it at all. I don't I don't like it. Take it easy.
Okay, let's get started.
Hands off!
Just doing a low down the Jet Set radio music. And I'm gonna let the intro play. Actually, I'm gonna hide my face. If you haven't seen the intro before, it's kind of fun to watch, so I'll give that a go. Pop out my window. I figured I usually skip the cutscenes anyway, so I'll just let this one play out. Oh, for reference, so we're not gonna be able to corrupt this scene. This is all, pre-rendered. These aren't actual objects that are being rendered and moved around on the screen. Just sort of like an MP4 file put into the game, for example. If we tried corrupting it, it would be similar to what we get with a lot of the Oddworld games, where it's just kind of very minor corruptions, not very noticeable. There would just be small corruptions to the video itself, so like broken pieces of it, or it being rendered incorrectly.
Not good.
I like that black-eyed Bowser. Because you never see his face actually be hurt. Anyways, it's like a short movie, that's why I wanted to play this whole thing. However, it does go on for another, I think, 2 minutes. And we probably want to get started with just getting the corruptions going. I can pop my video back in. I will explain as we go along what all of these kind of windows do. Just as a very brief summary, to the top left, these are our parameter values that we can mess around with in terms of the intensity and where in the ROM itself we'd like to begin corrupting. Blast range we won't mess around with, but that's just how large of a packet you'd like to send, in a sense. I believe. Stash history are all of our blast layers applied to the save state that we're currently targeting. You can see I've done a couple preliminary tests to both of these, that's why there's some values filled in there already. And then the window that's going to be surrounding me is our actual stockpile window. That's where we're going to be creating our stockpile of just corruptions that we want to keep. Whether we create a stockpile this stream or not, I'm unsure. I think I'm going to create a stockpile for the actual character selection screen, and not for the golf scene itself. Toadstool Tour. Depending on how good the corruptions are. So here's the first place we can decide to corrupt. So I actually already have a save state selected here. Let me just retarget it in the glitch harvester. And we'll begin one of our first corruptions. Now I don't know how well this one will do. We do see a couple things moving around on the screen. Those are the clouds, or possibly the sky itself. Whereas the rest of the objects... Oh. Is there a little demo screen? I didn't know there was. Oh, there is! Oh, we got Toad on the screen. I hate Toad. He's the worst. But anyways, we have the castle and a couple of ground elements that we could mess around with. We'll see if it corrupts at all. So I'm gonna blast that a couple times. We have fairly large intensity, so we're breaking the game kind of a lot. I'm gonna knock down the desktop audio just a tad. I'm only wearing one headphone. I keep one ear free because how loud these sometimes get. Like this one is just blasting in my right ear. I'm gonna turn it down a bit on my end. We're gonna keep moving until we find something interesting. This is sort of interesting. We do have a free camera, so we can choose to move around the world and see what's going on. Just inherent with Dolphin. That's one of just the hacks that's included with it. However, it's cool when you can get just a corruption that creates this effect, because if you were playing this natively on a GameCube, it'd be neat to not have those tools available and still be able to look at the world zoomed out like this. And what I mean by free camera is we can just kind of zoom in and look around here. If you've ever been curious about what your worlds look like behind the scenes, kind of ruin a little bit of that childhood nostalgia, go and load the game up in Dolphin if it's a GameCube game, and you can sort of zoom around the place with the free camera. But anyways, this is just a zoomed out perspective. You can see the world map in the background. Those clouds are actually part of the skybox, and that entire skybox is moving around. So we might be able to corrupt that, or we might not be able to. One or the other. Gotta make sure I reset the camera. That's kind of neat looking. I like that a lot. When we strip away the textures on certain objects, it kind of looks like a potato mode, if you will. The castle is just a potato castle. And that memory card's kind of hopping around weird. I should readjust my camera. Well, yeah, I'm gonna readjust it a little bit. Bring it a little bit down. There we go. Because I use my hands a lot, and I kind of slouch in my chair. If I stood up straight, I'd actually be out of the picture, but I slouch, and I can use my hands down here. Gotta make sure the camera's all reset so we don't keep jumping around. That's a really cool looking castle, actually. I like that a lot. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that. For anyone curious, throughout the stream I'm gonna take small screenshots and I'll say I'm taking a screenshot and posting it somewhere. I'm posting these to the community Discord that I'm part of, the stream team that I'm part of, called Oddbrew. There's a link down below called Oddbrew. You should click on that if you're curious. And that's where I post some of these. Oddly enough though, I don't have the camera reset by default. I gotta set that. But I like this a lot. Let me load our fresh save state, retarget it. There we go. That way the camera doesn't pop up every time. That one has some cool bass to it. I like that. It's a normal track too, just a very heavy bass note. That camera's gonna bother me the entire time. Hands. I think I minimize my... Oh, I just bring it inward so it's a square box. Yeah. Alright. Oh, Toad. There's a higher pitched tone. You get that little steel drum. But someone who doesn't know how to play it, or they can only hit like one end of it. Oh. In the very top left corner, it's that cutout. You can see the title screen way up there. Oh, and that actually shows me that the box is a little bit off. Let me adjust that. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Shoot. Now I can't even see the screen anymore, it's all black. Load this one. Oh, the things that bother me. Where it's not just perfect, it's a little bit off. Gonna bother me to the end. The demo comes a little too quickly. Kinda. Okay, good enough. Okay. If that bothers anyone as much as it bothers me, let me know and I'll keep adjusting it. Upside down map. I think we ran into that one before. Couple higher pitched songs. It's nice we can mess with the music this much. Usually with a couple GameCube games and a lot of the time on Wii, we just get very terrible audio that sounds like it's being played back at like a really old MP3 player that's been dunked underwater, and still the memory works, but it just sounds terrible and choppy and messed up. So at least for this, we're getting nice variations. I like the pillar effect that we're getting in the background. That looks super cool. It looks like the world is like being loaded in slowly. That is amazing. What does it normally look like? Do we have... Is that the clouds? I don't know what that is. We're gonna take the free camera around. Yeah, it's like the world is expanding. This is how the Big Bang started, in case you're curious. There's the whole stretched out world. It looks like it almost continues to expand, but... can't confirm that. We got a terrible yellow Mario Golf. Got a piss Mario Golf. And the music is too loud and too fast and makes me want to go to sleep. Once again, we get kind of like a loading world, which is interesting. I don't know what's going on there. We got Mario Golf, but in the rough. Mario Golf when you go to heaven. Or hell. Yeah, my ear is starting to feel a little bit of pain. It's starting to kick in the wincing. Let's continue along, so that's enough of the title screen. We can do a lot of stuff with it, which is a lot of kind of interesting stuff. However, maybe nothing we want to keep on an actual stockpile. Let's see if we can find anything for a stockpile. So I've already skipped all this, but we'll just go through it. I decided to do 2-player when I created my save state. And we can choose any of these characters here, and this is where we're going to begin corrupting next, because all these characters have the various limbs that are moving around that you can corrupt and mess with, which is a lot of fun. However, annoyingly, they all have this wonderful audio sound that they play every movement that they make. I like Luigi's. You can't get old of that. Can't get tired of that. I hate that. It's only the very beginning of the song. And nothing else. Daisy's also annoying. That's my favorite character in the Mario series, but God, she sounds terrible. It's like High-End Daisy, how they only recorded that one voice line for one of the older Mario Karts, I think Double Dash. It's just the sound instead. Yoshi's not bad. We actually might corrupt Yoshi specifically, the tax evasion guy. And since he's got a new game coming out, or he had a new game that came out, it could be fun to play with him. Koopa. DK. DK is always fun to corrupt. We'll also corrupt him a bit. We can only create one save state, but we'll probably... how would I phrase this? We can only create one save state for the stockpile. Every time we target a new save state, the stockpile gets thrown out, and you have to start brand new with a fresh one. We may not create a stockpile, so we'll just play around with the characters, make it a little bit easier on ourselves. And I'll show you what that means as we go, as we start getting into it. Got Diddy, Wario, Waluigi. Since he's flinging his arms around, that could be a lot of fun to watch. Birdie, and Bowser's Wasabi's favorite, so I'll probably corrupt him a bit as well. Let's start off with the old, tried and tested Mario. Even though the audio is going to get old real fast. Let's go ahead and target this lad and see our first character corruption for Mario Golf. Our starting address is a little bit far out. I'm going to bring it a little closer to 0. We do have to worry about crashing with Dolphin, or I should say with GameCube games, because they are a little crash heavy. Also, this light is bothering me a little bit. Can I flip this down? Does that look weird? Light down, light up. No, I'm just gonna keep it down, blind myself a little bit. Anyway. So, starting address closer to 0, we have to worry about it crashing because GameCube games crash a lot. Our intensity thus will be a little bit lower, and let's blast it there. There's something terrible going on with Mario in the background, but we can't quite see it. And something we can do in this case is looking at our stash history over here. We can open this corruption within something called our Blast Editor. It's some weird audio. And we get sort of a rundown of all the corruptions that are going on this blast layer, or all the corruptions that are being sent to memory, essentially. And is that small enough to see? Yeah, you can kind of see those entries. So if we look at the very first one, for example, we have 9943387. That's just a source address or an area within memory, and at that location we're going to set a value in hexadecimal. I should pause that, just sounds so repetitive. We're going to set a value in hexadecimal 4, and if we take off that specific corruption, so we unselect it, you see the X disappears, and load the corruption once again. Nothing looks like it changed. I think the audio couldn't have changed, right? No, there's 500 entries here, so most likely what we did nothing. It was purposeless. We didn't need it on this blast layer anyways, and removing it didn't have any effect whatsoever. We can go through here and just manually disable some of these entries and reload the corruption and hope for our best, but again, it's going to take so long, and we have 508 of these here, indicated by the top right. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to randomly disable 50% of them, load the corruption, and even with 50% we still have this sort of white text blocking the screen, so what we're still looking for isn't quite there. I'm going to invert the ones I disabled, and now we can see Mario. However, he doesn't look as messed up as I thought he would. Perhaps that's just because the messed up Mario is in the other 50%, the one that has the messed up white text all over the screen. So we can try re-rolling this a couple times, seeing if we can get a nicer looking version of this. This one, his mustache, I think, is all broken and is being wrapped around him. Yeah, there's a couple things that are going on. However, nothing I specifically want to keep. It still does look like Mario's gigantic here, but I can't figure out what the root of that is. It could just be a camera defect. Either way, we're gonna move on, but that's an interesting first thing to look at. We tried sanitizing it a bit, get a little bit of an introspection of what's going on. Can't quite fight what we want, so we're gonna move on. We'll try to find something interesting. Like Mario's... Is that one leg or two? It looks like he has one leg, and the second leg is tucked behind the first one, and he's just hopping around. And his entire body is working like a windshield, flicking around the screen. Which is wonderful. We're gonna keep moving on. This one's like a kaleidoscope effect. The steel drum. It's not one little note, it's just like a lot of little notes. Mario is unrecognizable. We can try to get a good screenshot there. Just when he discovers himself. He has like, his nose is gigantic. That's not natural. Whatsoever. With this corruption, we got a lot of things going on. We got the musical corruption that we might want to hold on to. Let me just reorder my windows around. They're all kind of overlapping each other. There we go. We got the musical corruption that's going on. We got the various bugs on his face. We got Toad out of scene. What if we want to keep some of these? Like, I like the music a lot. Let's see if we can just hold on to that. And just to verify, this is what the music should sound like. They do kind of go crazy on the steel drum, but it's very quiet, so you don't really notice it. When you bump that up, it's a little too weird. It's unnatural, in a good way. So there's our corruption once again. I'm gonna try to sanitize this to where we just have the audio effects. What's wrong with Toad's face? Is his jaw gone? Can you see that here? Let me hide that. What's going on with Toad's face? Every once in a while I do take screenshots, not only to send to Oddbrew, but also just to stick at the top left corner of the screen up here, so people have an idea of what we're doing when they go ahead and stop by. I mean, we are streaming in retro, so people might be curious on what retro games we're streaming, and we just take these nice little screenshots and stick them up there. Perfect. We're going to continue sanitizing this, trying to get that music. There's two different corruptions though, and it's hard to hear. So there's this one. Hear how the steel drum isn't higher pitched, and this one, steel drum is higher pitched. So we got two different effects going on. I think that's gonna be a lot to sanitize. We can try it. Yeah, and my hearing of tones is gonna go, it's gonna be numbed or dulled. If I try to keep trying to identify that over and over again, I'm gonna have a hard time doing it. So we'll move on, I guess. We'll try to find something else. Silence. The sound of silence is actually very peaceful in itself. For some of these streams I've been considering, instead of letting the music play just over and over and over again with the same audio where we create our save state, maybe we should just play some relaxing music in the background and just kind of chat. Not a bad idea, especially in this case, because it is kind of peaceful without Mario yelling yeah and the music freaking out. But the music freaking out is part of the fun. I think I might do that on the corruption streams where the music is terrible and it just doesn't really get corrupted a lot, or if it does get corrupted, it's just painful and annoying. So, anyway. Once again, no music, and just Mario saying yeah. He's doing like a nice little Irish skip with one leg up. Toad's having a good time too. That's kind of neat. So the screen's flicking out temporarily, and then it just completely disappears. You can take the free camera out and see if we can locate it. I'm not really seeing it. Alright, moving on. Yeah, a little horrifying. So Mario's coming from the sky. And Toad, I don't even know what's going on with Toad. Can we sanitize it slightly? I want to get rid of the black bar. That wouldn't do it. It seems like every time he's on the roof, he has the black bar, which hopefully these two aren't hand in hand, but they might be. Ah, there we go. So he's on the roof, no black bar. I like that, and actually, I think I want to keep this as the first entry on the stockpile. If we do decide to create a full-on stockpile for all these characters, this is where I'd like to begin. Because it's a nice mechanical corruption that we can apply to something else maybe later on to create a hybrid, interesting corruption that we'd like to showcase. So in this case, I'm going to send it to our stash. We have a single memory write with a single source address and value. Now it's in the stash is the most recent entry down here. I'm going to send it to the stockpile manager. We'll call it... Are all the characters on the roof? I gotta check. They are. So we'll call it on the roof. Now with that single memory address, we have a single parameter value, BD8. And you may wonder what happens if we send different values to that same source address. Do we always get the same effects? Will they always be on the same position on the screen? Will they flip different directions? All those are questions that you might be wondering, and we're going to find out when we re-roll this effect by sending different values to that memory. And for the most part, it looks like they're either on the ground or in the sky, which isn't too surprising. However, with other corruptions, like say Mario's head is a little bit bigger, by sending different values to memory we might make it even bigger or even smaller. So we have to keep that in mind when we're sanitizing our corruptions and we have those individual components narrowed down. Anyways, we're going to move on from here. There's our first entry within the stockpile manager, and whether we keep this or not is still up to debate, but I like it so far. Let's go ahead and start from the top. This one we get another kind of awful, stringy Mario. I need a name for these types of corruptions. We have Clown Vomit, which is just when you corrupt a game and it just looks like a bunch of colors sprawled over the screen. You can't tell what's going on anymore. It just looks like Clown vomited all over the screen. I'm not sure what to call these, where they're just kind of freaking out. Stringies going everywhere into infinity. I usually call it 2 infinity corruptions, but that's not really a perfect name for them. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Oh, I like this. He's like wearing a helmet of some sort. It goes across his mustache. His mustache is still sticking out though with the nose. It's like a guard of some sort. Hattie is taken over. We're gonna sanitize that one. Slowly but surely. We have 57 memory rights left. Him saying, yeah, we'll never get old, don't worry. Down to 7, down to 3, and 1. Send the stash, call it Helmet Mario, and we can re-roll that. And then we get some kind of different effects. So now we see instead of having a helmet that goes across his mustache, or nose area, we now have it going down his sides, kind of like sideburns. Continuing in that fashion, we'll continue to re-roll it. That one goes completely over his face. This one he's just wearing the hat a little bit lower than he normally does. I try not to keep multiples of these, so if I decide I really like one of the re-rolls and I like the original corruption, I'll try to keep both. However, if I find myself keeping like 5 variants of the exact same effect but only minor changes, I usually don't utilize all of them and I throw them all away. So I'll try to limit myself. This one might be one I want to keep though. Unless I find a better one. For the most part, they seem to actually all be Afro corruptions. This one, his head is sliced off. I like that one, let's keep that. We'll call it Scalped Mario. He didn't get scalped, you can see the little bit of the red where he got scalped. Alright, moving along. Oh, just like a polygon nightmare. I like that there's sort of a gray tint effect. It looks kind of foggy. I do want to keep that. However, I'm not sure what's creating that effect. We can try to get lucky and see if we can narrow it down. There goes the music. I'd also like to keep one of these effects which eliminates the music because no music is also kind of nice. We've run into a lot though so far, so I think it shouldn't be a problem trying to find it. When I normally see a gray effect like this where it isn't perfectly covering the entire screen, I think it's usually a letter that's like been extended to infinity. and we're just looking through that letter. I have to figure out what letter it is though. Or if it's some character or something like that. But anyways, we're down to 4, down to 2, and down to 1. I'm gonna send that to our stash. Before the effect gets ruined for me, I'm gonna call it Silence Golf Tea? Golf Hill? What is Hill's even called? Silent I can't call it Silent Hill. Silence Course. And now to reroll that. Trying to figure out what that is. Ah, we almost saw it there. It looks like it must be the shadow on select character, so it's like a drop shadow effect. It's too gigantic to get it narrowed down to something reasonable. But yeah, that seems to be what it is, so it's some kind of drop shadow effect applied to select character that we're extending and making bigger. It's kind of cool how those are two separate layers and it's not just the word that says select character with drop shadow applied to it. Not sure what that is though, because they move exactly the same. They're not moving independently of one another, so I don't know why they would make it two different layers, or two different objects. Anyway, so we got Silent Course, make that a little bit bigger. We should also get, if I can find it somewhere. Gonna go back through our stash history, this one. We're gonna find the music killer as well, because I want to combine this with the Silent Course. If we don't find a creepy sounding sound effect, we're gonna use this no sound effect whatsoever instead. Which just kills the audio completely. Also, I'm also kind of curious what happens when we re-roll this effect with no music at all. Alright, we're down to 4, down to 2, and down to 1. I'm making good progress on my Visual Studio project, which I'm happy about. We're gonna call this No Music. I'm 4 out of 8 tests done, and it's due in like a week and a half. I actually got a lot of time on it, so I'm doing really well. This is re-rolling that no music effect, and we can see why there was no music. We're gonna call it Steel Drums. Super loud. I like this one. So we're gonna call this Just Mario. I should label these as sound corruptions. So sound, Just Mario. And sound, Steel Drums. This one makes me laugh for some reason. And sound, no music. That helps organize stuff. I haven't done a stockpile in a very long time, and actually I'm happy to be doing it again because that was my original intent for doing a lot of these corruption streams, is making something that I can give back to people. And it's been a long time since I've done that. I've been lazy mode for the most part with some of my streams. And for this stream too, I was going to be lazy and I was like, okay, we're not going to bother corrupting the rest of the game, we're just going to do the singular portion. And I'm sorry, no, I wasn't going to say we're going to corrupt the single portion, I was going to say we're going to corrupt the rest of the game, so we're going to check out what it looks like in-game and stuff like that, which we'll still do possibly, but first we need to create the stockpile for this portion before we move on. I don't know what Toad was doing there, sliding around. Bits mice. Try not to chew on stream. Why does he like scooch in? It sounds like a car effect, like where a car's like tires screech because they brake too hard or whatever. Listen to that closely. Let's try to get that all sanitized out. Toad's going too quick. I don't know what that's caused from either. He must just run around on screen normally. Maybe when we hit start? I'm curious just by going through this. Oh, so he normally does that. Shoot. Right here. Ah, okay. I thought we found something unique. Bollocks. Alright. Well, we'll move on then. We just reset Toad's position. A little bit off. Can't quite see the players. This looks like something out of, actually, Stanley Parable is what this reminds me of because of that orange color. Still cool looking though. Mario's a fractal. Fractal is, I guess, a good name for those corruptions. We're moving around trying to get a good look at Mario. If we can see him. I'm trying to zoom in on him, but he's too far away. His face is a little too messed up in this one. What I don't like about these corruptions so far is, while we are getting like body corruptions, they're just these ones, the fractal ones, where it's just pieces of them being sent off into infinity. It's not like grotesque mutilations, to put it in the nicest way possible. Like this one, Tall Mario. That is exactly what I'm looking for. So let's sanitize that one out. Speaking of weird corruptions, it's perfect. Instead of Short Mario, we got Tall Mario. If Mario was Luigi. Oh, that's unnatural. Oh my god. That's fantastic. We had some neat corruptions in Luigi's Mansion. Some of which are like this, where they're just knockoff Mario characters that looked absolutely terrible. When you go to like a, I don't know, like maybe a Dollar Tree or something like that, and they have stuffed animals there, or like branding of certain IP characters? IP? ISP. No, IP characters. Intellectual properties. That they didn't have rights to, so they're just slightly off. You have like Barrio or Luigi. And that's an example of this here. We're gonna call this Tall Mario. And now reroll it. We can affect the size of Mario. Now we have a Dwarf Mario. And the only reason why I'm calling it Dwarf Mario, not to offend anyone, but because Dwarf Fortress, and I love Dwarf Fortress. Oh, but unfortunately we forgot to remove a dependency on it. So we don't get to keep that corruption, sadly. We gotta reroll it again. Instead of Dwarf Mario, though, you have Negative Mario? In a world where pants are heads, and heads are pants. I like how his head isn't the bottom of it, it's his neck. If we can zoom in on him. We actually can't, we're locked to this screen, I can't move in or out. I imagine I can, it's just, we're locked to this being in our face. Let's move on. Something ain't right here. If it was a little bit shorter, I think it'd be better. But still, this is wrong. This isn't right. I like how it builds upwards almost into like a pyramid. This one's just too huge. This one, he's just like a tiny little ball Mario. I don't want to keep that one though, I want a dwarf one again. This one, yeah. So, I gotta rename this one Tall Mario on the stack. And to remove, sometimes we get like little problems where either the caching or something goes wrong when we're trying to throw it onto the stockpile here, and the names will become the same and they're a reference to each other. So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna open the blast editor. Do we not fully sanitize this? Whoa, wait a minute. We have to fully sanitize it, we gotta do that still. Whoops! Let's do that real quick actually. So, we'll get Dwarf Mario sanitized. Gotta be careful with that, otherwise we might run into some crashes. Alright, so this one is all sanitized. Is that Dwarf Mario? Is he the same size? No, he's not. We actually messed that one up. Well, let's do Tall Mario, because that one's more evident. We can... It's not a subtle change. It's pretty obvious what's going on. Okay, down to 4, down to 2, and down to 1. Send a stash. Call this. I'm gonna remove the dependency, so send a stash again. And I call this Tall Mario. Remove the old entry. And now this one should be fully sanitized. It is. Now it's safe to re-roll without any problems. And we need to get an especially short Mario. Not a tall Mario like we've gotten. Not an especially tall Mario like this. I don't know if I like that one better. I like this one better because it's more natural. This one we might call... We'll call him Extra Tall Mario, even though I said I wouldn't do this and take multiple versions. But I think we can mix this with Silent Course. Yeah, those two mix together kind of well. So let's just call this one Silent Course. And move that up here. And then we can remove Extra Tall Mario. Why does this one look better? What's going on here? Okay, it disappears. Alright. Move this one. And I gotta blow my nose. Give me just a sec. Okay, thank you for that. So we have Tall Mario. We now have Silent Course, which is all sanitized and well and good. I wonder if we can... I want to get that to look better. But I don't think we can get the text any larger. Actually, some of these do look better. Can we sanitize this out so we just get the darkness? Yeah, this one. Call this one darker. Now we need the other half of this silent. We need this guy. Silent Stash. Super tall. Remove the old Silent Course. Combine these two entries together. Call this one Silent Golf. Put that up to the top, and we're good to go. Now we can remove these two entries. Good. Alright, brand new, fresh one from the top. Been sticking to that one for too long. Things I like. I think those are Toad's hands. I think. No, they just look like stretchies. I like Mario's nose, but we're not gonna keep it. And that's about it for this one. And no music once again. The music is fantastic. Mario's face is a mask that's just extending out a little bit. What is that music? Let's get the mask sanitized. We'll think about the music. Here's the mask. The mask. Okay. Eyes wide shut. 16 entries, 8 entries, 4 entries, and 2, and 1. I'm gonna send that to my stash. Call this face, well, Mario Mask. And reroll it. And we can see through his face. That looks a little, suspicious. Mario. I want to get him cheering. Get a good screenshot of that one. Alright, we're gonna move on from, well... How do we nicely name this one? Mario shaved his mustache. Mustache? Mustache. How do you spell mustache? Just how it sounds? Nope, that was spelled wrong. Mustache. And that's all that's happened. He's just shaved his mustache. There's nothing else going on here. Rerolling. He's got hair in front of his face. More of that mask thing going on. That one's a little horrifying, but it's a little too far away, so you kind of have to stare at it for a couple seconds to figure out what's going on. This one just looks like he has no face. So that one's neat. Let's keep that. No face. Can we mix that with Silent Golf? Yeah, we can. That actually looks alright, too. So let's keep that one. Call this one Silent Golf. But how about that one? You can see his mouth like jumping and screaming, yeah. Is that the one? We didn't accidentally put that on, did we? No. Let's not do this one. Mario Mask and Silent Golf. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Accidental corruptions that get solved together with caching are fantastic. Get resolved together. Okay. Silent Golf. We still gotta find some music to put with this. If we did no music. I like hearing his sound effects though. If he had like a really deep voice, that's one we can keep an eye out for. No face we'll find another use for sometime in the future. Okay, let's move on. Clearing out the history and starting from the top. He's looking like he's got like some kind of something on his eyes. I can't figure out what that is. Hair? Eyebrows? Ew. He's like phasing through himself. His ping lures are messed up. There comes Toad and his false coming to a stop that I thought we found, but we didn't. Mario's stats. Something we haven't really looked at is how the other characters look with these various corruptions. Sadly, not well. That's too bad. I wish it would transfer over. Yeah, they absolutely do not transfer over. In fact, even when you move away, the effect resets. Sadly. No music goes over that. Jesus. Someone just screamed. Yeah, everyone resets, at least with the body modifications. Something else we can try, which we haven't done yet, is moving around our starting address and try corrupting somewhere else within memory. Let's try going to 0. Just see if it runs, see if we can corrupt it, see if it crashes right away. Actually, okay, we get kind of a thunderstorm. With the little bit of flashing that we have at the top left, or at the top just in general. I should warn people, we haven't had a lot of flashing so far for the stream, but in case we do have a lot of flashing just generally with corruption streams, so be cautious of that. If you're sensitive to flashing lights, or bright sound, bright colors, or loud sounds, you may need to remove yourself from the stream just because it is a little sensitive and they will flash randomly, so just a forewarning. This one isn't very intense, but yeah, it could come up later. Continuing along. There's another song. Got like more of a rock beat to it. And I like the no-face Mario. One endless tone. Doesn't quite sound creepy. If it did sound creepy, I'd throw it on Silent Golf. That one was almost creepy. Other than his tumor foot. Oh, but the music! I like this one. Let's try to keep this. Sorry, it's a little loud. Oh, no, I messed it up. I did. Shoot, one more time. There's two sound corruptions going on here. which is why these are so hard to keep. I'm not gonna bother. Just when we're in the process of sanitizing, it becomes difficult. Zoomed in Mario, cool to look at, nothing else to keep there. We can try re-rolling it, of course. But not much of an effect there. There's our first hard crash of the evening. Whenever we get a hard crash, we actually break the emulator itself. We get a nice broken glass sound, brought to you by the real-time corrupter. There it is. It's very quiet. I don't think I can bring that up either. And this will eventually populate. There we go. It's a lot faster than it used to be. We got Mario the Genie. That's kind of neat. I want to keep that. Genie Mario. I'm debating whether I want to play any Oblivion later tonight. I kind of do. I've been knocking those out. They've been so relaxing for me. They've been great after I've been frustrated with Visual Studio. Just to play through a little bit of story, play something I know. There's a game I've been considering, and if anyone's watching this after the fact, I can actually get the name of Sabi sent it to me. And I've looked at it before, and before I was kind of on the fence about it. Still kind of am. I'm not sure if I want to play it. It's called Screeps, which you are in an MMO, so massively multiplayer online game. It's about programming, where you have to program in JavaScript mostly. So it's going to be a JavaScript-based game that you can write in other languages using WebAssembly. So I could write in C++ if I chose to, and I'd export the code to, I think, JavaScript. It would be converted. Which I don't like that, because the reason why I like programming in C++ is because you can write very optimized code. I don't personally like JavaScript or Java itself. So I don't know if I want to play that. Possibly I will. If I do, whether I play it on stream is a big iffy too. I'm on the fence about it. It looks like a lot of fun though. And if I can get past writing JavaScript, I think it would be fantastic for my programming ability. Build up a little bit, program on the side. I should be coding all the time, and I'm not. I should be coding every time I get out of school, when I wake up in the morning, when I'm at school, all the time. And what I mostly do is I do corruption streams and I do Oblivion and stuff like that off stream, which are my relaxing me time. But outside of that, I don't do too much, and I should code more. So playing a game that encourages you to code would be very nice. We're gonna call this Genie Mario, which I think is G-E-N-I-E? G-E-N-I-E, is that correct? Yes it is. Spelling master over here. We're gonna re-roll that. See if we affect where the legs are pointing. Seems like we are for the most part. It's actually kind of cool. With this corruption, we got both of them pointing to the exact same point on the ground. Both at like 0, essentially. And that kind of created a cool effect. But anyways, nothing else we can really get out of that. We're gonna move on with a brand new, fresh corruption from the top. I was gonna say, why do we keep getting the same effect? Look at Toad! This is like early Wasabi, I was gonna say. But that's pretty great. And I also like the eyes of... I like all of this. There's so much going on here that's like nothing. So we got the blank cards up at the top. We got no-faced Mario with a broken leg. We got Toad, who, I don't even know what's going on with Toad. He got like a weird suntan and has dyed his hair gray. And we got those weird bars at the far right. We don't even know what those mean. We can adjust them though by changing our characters. Also, changing characters affects the rest of the characters too. That's just wrong. There's Bowser. Bowser actually looks okay, because he's okay due to all of his details. But like Birdo, no. There's not enough details to Birdo to figure out what's going on. Waluigi's pretty detailed, Mario is... oh boy. Diddy... Donkey Kong, no. Let me get him with his mouth open, which sounds weird. I can take the screenshot here. Oh, I keep missing it by half a second. There we go. Put that in Odd Brew. And then get a closer screenshot, and put that at the top left side of the screen. They look like they're having the time of their life. There we go. Sorry to overlap the screen a bit. Oh, I gotta make it smaller. Let's cut out... neither of them. Let's just do that. There we go. Koopa kinda looks cool, actually. Yoshi looks wrong. Daisy, god. No, it's not something. Alright, moving along. Sorry to stick on this one for so long. We're gonna sanitize it. Get these elements all figured out. I can't get over Toad and how happy he looks about this whole situation. It like highlights his smile. It's great. It kind of looks like a beta version of the game when you don't have to bother about texturing the background. The characters don't even need to be fully there. Just get the GUI working. We'll work on the rest afterwards. We got art on it. There's our sanitized corruption down to 1 memory rights. We're gonna send that down to our stash. And once we're in the stash, we're gonna retrieve it and call it like Beta Mario. Beta Golf. Beta Golf. Let's reroll that and see if we get different effects on screen. It seems like the effect that was creating the sort of ring around Toad's mouth was some sort of shadow effect, because now those shadows are drawn a little bit behind the characters. What? Is that... I think his profile icon is being extended to infinity? Yeah. That must be what's going on. I'm gonna call this one Toad Wasabi. The eyes look creepy. The eyes are horrifying. Because they're not just not there. They are there, but they're like blank. Like Yoshi, there's no pupil. A lot of these characters look great. We should cycle through some of these to make sure they all have a universal look to them. However, I do think we're approaching the extent of these corruptions. We're not seeing much new. That one's a little new. Oh my god, look at Toad. That's like a poison mushroom is what that is. All in Daisy's eyes. No, that's just wrong. That's a scaly mouth. Poison mushroom Toad is what I'm gonna call that one. Okay, moving along. I like Beta Golf just in itself, so I'm just gonna leave that one. Yeah. What's going on right above, like here? What is that? I'm gonna zoom in the camera, sorry to do that. That's all the characters, actually. But you know what? Can we zoom in on that? No, it's part of the HUD. So, this might be hard to look at. Let me do it on this screen. And I'm gonna load this. This is kind of interesting, because I didn't expect to see this. And I don't know what this actually is. If I can properly zoom in on it, this is gonna be really shitty quality. It's super shitty. So, it looks like characters that either were in the game or were supposed to be in the game, because look, we got Wario, Waluigi, Birdo, Boo. Boo's not in the game. And the plant boss character, I forget the one that one is, but you usually have to jump on the belly button and stuff like that. Are those characters in the game? Maybe they're just not unlocked, because we don't have all the characters unlocked on screen. There's a couple slots available, so maybe we're just getting part of that palette, since they're not listed on the right there. I've never played this game to completion or anything like that. I don't even know if there are unlockable characters. That's maybe my guess here. Kind of cool nonetheless, and if they're not unlockable, that's even more interesting, because then they were planned characters, but they didn't make it to the final cut. Anyways, let's return to our original image here, and continue from the top with a brand new, fresh corruption. I like saying that a lot. It reminds me of like, maybe like Starbucks Eat Fresh, but it's nice to have a fresh corruption, because it's messed up, it doesn't work right. Ooh, wait a minute. Ooh! That's a fun crash.
Camelot!
got a green screen with a bunch of corrupted stuff up on top. Can we go to the menu? Will it break? This is like someone kicked your GameCube. Actually, it works really well, surprisingly. No problems at all. How about in game? Totally okay. Surprisingly, that's pretty awesome. I'm gonna increase our intensity a bit and start from the top again. We could risk crashing once more, but it looks like we're okay so far. Now there's another kind of beta-looking version. Some more flashing stuff on screen. Oh, you can't see this, but this one... Let me take a screenshot here. This one's a little messed up. It's a nice little mosaic, is what I'd call this. That's what's going on my screen right now, even though it broke on your guys' screen. Put that back. Moving along. Oh, we got another one of these. This one is very broken though. We have a lot higher intensity. It's amazing. It's like it completely cleans itself or something. Everything works totally okay. Mario, I think, even looks alright. Yeah, he's okay. Good job, Mario. We will corrupt there in just a few minutes, or well, in a little bit, once we decide we're finished with our stockpile. And we're getting a pretty good distance along so far. We've got a good number of them. I'd like to create a couple more hybrids before I finish off, and possibly transition to another game. Okay, I think we should move away from Zero. And actually, we got an interesting crash there, so it's one of the crashes... What's going on with OBS? Do you guys hear stuff? OBS is saying there's audio that's being played to you guys. Yeah, I don't hear that. Oh, that's weird. It's saying that there's audio that's being played at a very high tone constantly, but I can tell that there's nothing going on, so OBS is also kind of freaking out. The emulator broke, so I gotta restart that. So I was gonna say, it's an interesting crash because Dolphin itself isn't catching it. It's like a memory leak or something like that. I can't tell. And let's restart it. Great. We're gonna move away from Zero. We're gonna go a lot farther out than we used to. You can see up here, we're going out to this range. And just playing around with what other corruptions we can kind of expect with playing around with this address. And actually out here, for the most part, it looks like we're not getting a lot of corruptions. At least not a lot of body corruptions. So most of those models must be loaded in kind of close to Zero. This one, our foot's a little messed up. If I go a little bit further out, I can probably expect that we get nothing at all. Oh no, we're getting something though. And actually a full-on crash as well. 2 full-on crashes. There's something important actually this far out that we're corrupting. I don't know what it is, but man, look at all these hard crashes. There are these, I don't know, software crashes. This one, his foot's a little broken. Went down to the bottom of the screen. Let me knock down our intensity, I guess, a bit. Bring up a tiny bit. I don't really know what we're corrupting here that should be so spectacular that's actually crashing it, in a small sense, but since we're not really running into anything, I think we should move on. Let's go even further out. And now we're still getting minor corruptions. I don't like that they're so sparse and so widely spread out, because maybe we really want an effect that might be out here, but we're probably gonna miss it because we're not gonna corrupt specifically here with a high intensity and a small range. Yep, thus far, most of the corruptions are kind of like just freaky leg corruptions or like arms going off in a direction. Not as many body ones that we are usually interested with because those are hilarious. Checking if we're corrupting how they switch characters, no? Alright, even further out. And now we're just gonna bump up the intensity an intense amount, a huge amount. And it looks like we're not doing a thing to the game, so you see our intensity is gigantic here, and we're not doing anything because we're just so far out. gonna bring that starting address back. This is where we were crashing. You probably expect that a little bit more. I like these ones where... let's see if I can capture it. No, there's like 2 Marios on screen. I won't bother screenshotting it, but their faces are just slightly moved from one another, so it looks like 2 Mario faces. More flashing, more legs running off. Okay, bring the intensity down, bring that starting address back. This was around where I believe the sweet spot was. I think it might be a little bit closer, actually. Sorry about the flashes. Legs going off. I like how the legs just kind of run away from him. But however, I'm not seeing much else that I like. And I kind of want to go through and corrupt some more of the game outside of this scene. So what I think I'm gonna do, and I do this a lot, and I'm having trouble starting to maintain some of my corruptions, but I'm gonna save this to... such a bad way to program it. Ugh. Alright, this looks terrible. So what I did was I know that my stockpile, my save states are loaded within memory. If I click on browse through the Windows glitch harvester to go grab where that save state is selected, I can just drag it out of the folder within Dolphin and move it to wherever I want. And I'm going to move that to my desktop because I usually just zip them up on my desktop and throw them into my archive folder. I forget that I can't grab them from the browse folder within the Windows glitch harvester where I normally select the save states anyway, because it will wipe my stockpile out. Delete it. The second you click on that browse button, say goodbye to all your corruptions, you're not saving them. Which I hate. I wish there was some kind of like warning or anything like that. Even if you don't select a save state, it shouldn't throw them out, but it does. So those ones that we created, in the trash. Oh well, we had a good time though. I was enjoying them a lot, and we got some good ones, from what I can tell. If anyone's curious about reproducing some of those corruptions that we created, just take a look at the Blast editor itself. For most of them, when we break it down to a single memory write, you'll see it at the very top. Take that source address and take that parameter value and blast it with the Nightmare engine. You should be able to adjust the values directly. It's not similar to... Sorry if that's annoying, by the way. Let's switch to a character that's better sounding. Oh, that one actually crashed it. How about that? Switch to... Oh wait, no, we can't do it there. Do it there. Open it up within the Nightmare engine and just change the parameter value directly. It's not similar to the Blast generator because there is no Blast generator for the Windows glitch harvester, so you should be able to set up the corruptions just that way. For all the rerolls, you'll be able to reroll it just in the same sense. I didn't take a look at those rerolls because I don't bother logging every single one, but that's how you can recover the stockpile if you're curious in that. We're gonna move on. We're actually gonna corrupt here. I'm not gonna corrupt Daisy because you can't corrupt Daisy. But we are gonna corrupt, I think, Luigi. I'd like to corrupt some Luigi. Luigi's always a lot of fun to corrupt, especially with like Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. So let's get him picked. We're gonna do not the tournament, just some stroke play. Of course, it's fine. 18 holes, why not? Are you ready to play? Yes, Toad, I am. There's a course, so you get a flyby view. I tried corrupting here, not so interesting. And we're gonna corrupt there. That's where our new save state is. I'm gonna delete my other save state because we don't need it anymore. And can we get a zoom in? We can zoom in, but I want to get a good view of Luigi himself. So maybe if we get the camera just kind of close up on him. This might be a good place to do it. However, it also might be beneficial just to see his whole body. It's kind of finicky. I wish I could just get a small amount of zoom. Oh, I've been playing with this forever. That's good. Okay. And I'm going to target that within the Windows glitch harvester. And we're not going to be creating stockpile out of this, but we're just curious what we can make with these corruptions. And that's why I should continue making stockpiles, because I get out of the habit of how to make them, and I make small mistakes like that because I've fallen out of habit. So I gotta continue that habits once again, despite how long it's been. In general, I haven't been doing too many corruption streams. This is my first corruption stream in quite a while. And it's also outside my normal hours, so people may not see this one, unfortunately, but hopefully I'll be able to get back into the swing of it once I'm back in the swing of my school schedule, which at the moment has been more than painful. But I got 10 weeks and 5 days left. Not that anyone's counting. I think it's 10 weeks and 5 days. I hope it's not longer. So I'm not seeing a whole lot of corruptions here, surprisingly. Let me retarget it to make sure there's no problem there. We're getting a corruption, so we verify that corruptions are working. Our intensity seems to be in a fairly fine place. We can knock it back if we want to, but we're not getting corruptions to begin with. So, maybe not necessary to do that. We got our hand extending into infinity. Can we hit our own hand? Oh, wait a minute, wait. What is this hellish landscape that we've been put in? What does this normally look like? Yeah, all the trees have leaves. Not completely wasted away. And like a nuclear background and Luigi's neck being extended to infinity. Let's take a good picture of that, because that is beauty. That's what that is. I want to do it before and after these two. Perfect. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm gonna send that to the stash. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this off the bat. Oh, I'm sorry to zoom in. I just realized that affects the screen. Let's do that. God. Before and after the nukes hit. Fantastic. Alright. We're gonna go back to this entry on our stash history and continue sanitizing it all the way down, and then we're gonna re-roll some of these entries. We're now okay with getting rid of Luigi's neck. We just want the trees in the background. So these here... down to 28. My voice is starting to escape me, I'm sorry. Down to 7. And 3.5. 2. And 1. Send it to our stash. And now we can re-roll this one individually to see how we can mess with this landscape. It looks like for the most part it's 1 or 0, apocalyptic landscape or none. I'm kinda curious what happens if we just like look around a little bit. It's very cool looking. I'm very happy with this. It looks like maybe stuff has just shifted slightly. Like there's supposed to be where the mountains are. The trees are here, but you can only really see them when you get close to them. And when you go away, they kind of disappear. So it's like some kind of rendering draw distance kind of thing that's going on. Very cool regardless, so I'm very happy with that. Very happy to have taken a picture at the very least of that. Oh, what was that one? What was this man? He looks like he had a mullet. Mullet Luigi. Okay, a few soft crashes, some terrible audio. We got Pantsman. I also like the ball's trajectory. It doesn't go in a straight line, no, it just curveballs it all the way into the distance. He hit it so hard, you had to view it from the skybox itself. Alright, moving on. Some fast audio. Alright, so what I think I'm gonna do is, in a few minutes here, we're gonna stop for a bit. I'm gonna get something to eat, and refresh up, and I think I'm gonna play some Oblivion after this. Because this seems like, well, it's good to corrupt, and there's a lot of corruptions we're getting out of it. There are not a lot of good ones that are for the stream, where they're just kind of like snap moments, hilarious to look at. We got a couple ones at the character screen. But to find something here, I think you have to kind of fine-tune it, you have to know the mechanics of the game, you have to look for something interesting in terms of those mechanics. We could mess around with the starting address a little bit more. We're not going to get as many body modifications, body stretchiness or anything like that. I'm still trying though, just sort of blasting rapidly now. Oh god. The audio is always wonderful. That one's kind of a nice one. There's a nice Luigi, right? Hit the ball, Luigi. Wonderful. Get invisible Luigi. Lights in the sky. Oh, that was kind of cool looking. Symbols. Angelic music with cymbals. And a little bit of a drum. He shot the ball from one world to the other world. And then it crashed. That's great. Keep moving along. I'm not seeing anything else though, so I think we should call for the stream. An hour's not a bad time either. We usually go about an hour and a half. However, we usually spend a little bit longer on the stockpile as well. The character selection screens can be a hit or miss. For this one, it was not bad. It was more of a hit than anything, but the golf club's freaking out. There's good stuff here. I think I need to play around with it a little bit more and do it maybe in a future stream. Once I've had a little bit more experience with where we corrupt. But I think this is about it for tonight. Let me go and transition scenes here. Go back to our starter screen. Bye. And we'll pull up some music for this last bit. Not this terrible background music, which is like overlapping itself. But let's do some... You know, I've been in love. You know, there's a channel on YouTube called Everness. And they just do ambient music from certain games, like they do Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Oblivion, Skyrim, the whole lot. And I have just been in love with that as a background music. It's wonderful. It's great music. From the worlds I love. So I'm gonna play something from that. I'm just looking around for a good one. Last time we did a bit of Darlaran. How about some Elven Forest? Did they have rainy Elven Forest? I want to some rain. Everness does not have rainy Elven Forest, but another channel does. So listen to that. Sudden abrupt ending. Oh, that was not even rain. This one's rain. Oh, but it's so quiet. Why the water audio? Skipping around. I was just... never happy. Never happy. How about... We'll just do Elven Forest, that's fine. Anyways. Sorry for the music choices. I should have one just queued up and ready, but you know how it is. So, thank you for anyone that was able to hang around for the corruption stream. Rolling over my words already. It's not even night yet. That was fun. The corruptions were good, but not stream quality, I would say. That wouldn't be something I would normally do for stream. Yeah. The preliminary was decent enough that I decided I might give it a try, but we'll see if we stream it once again in the future. For tonight's... I'm just trying to close out all my windows so they don't freak out on each other. Oh, it is freaking out. Alright. We're gonna find someone to host here in just a moment, so sit tight for that. And we'll be back in maybe about an hour or two, give or take, for some Oblivion, so sit tight for that. Hope everyone enjoys the host, and if you stick around, I'll see you in a little bit. I think we're gonna host Mr. Bullshit Plays, who is a retro streamer, part of the stream team for Oddbrew. I don't have my chatbot up, otherwise I would both shout him out and direct you to the Discord if you're curious about that. But we're just gonna go ahead and host him. He's playing, I believe, yeah, the Warriors, which he's been playing through a bit lately, and it's a lot of fun to watch. He's a great guy. I highly recommend checking out his content. Yeah, so sit tight for that. We'll check him out, and have a good night if you're not able to join us in a little bit.